I'm sure you guys have some questions, and I'm anticipating the questions you guys have about the sale, and I'm going to try to ask them, and we'll answer them right now. I just wrote these up. Janelle hasn't read them yet, so it's going to be a surprise for Janelle. So.
It'll be scary.
Yeah, well, that's okay. What was our oddest item? I think it was the impact tester.
Oh, see, now I would say it was the pad oven. In fact, the neighbor across up the street, she's an antique, I wouldn't say she's a dealer, but she has a little antique shop. And we were discussing the pad oven being one of probably the oddest items at our sale this year. And I said that was one that I didn't think would sell. And she goes, okay, how could we market it? Huh? And then she said, we could call it a prototype for the first Easy Bake Oven. And then we were thinking about it a little more. She goes, or we could put a rotisserie in it and make it a rotisserie oven. So I think that was the oddest item at our garage sale this time.
And if you want to see the pad oven, I believe you can see it going into the recycle bin. What were the best-selling items? Well, definitely the Mary Kay. We had it, let's see, we bought it a long time ago. We bought a whole bunch. We eBayed most of it, and then not all of it sold, so we tried to sell it other ways. Most of it didn't sell. We put it in the garage sale, and it was just flying off the shelf. Of course, it was $3 a piece, so that was a very good price. And Charity was very good at selling it. Like every lady that walked up to and looked at it, Charity would go over there and almost always make several sales. But it really helped that the price was $3 each.
Right, absolutely.
At the end, we were left with like plum mascara or something. I don't know what it was. Something odd that most people didn't want.
Yeah, we had plum and green mascara, and then the at play colors.
Yes, no one wants.
Which nobody seems to want. So.
But all the good stuff sold. We had 5 of these containers, and now we're down to 2 or 3. And we also had a lot more in the plastic containers. So that's going very quickly. I'd say we probably have gotten rid of half of the Mary Kay. And also, we had these little hooks, and it was some hardware. And those, I just couldn't believe it. They were just flying off the shelf, too.
People have handfuls of them.
Yes.
It's really strange, the things that sell some years.
Yeah,
like,
and they've been in our garage sale for the last 7 years.
Yeah,
nobody touched them. And this year, everybody was buying those little hooks. This whole box was filled up with those, and then we're left with just a handful left. I'm selling them for $1 each, so the price is right.
It's like the paper. Some years, people buy gobs and gobs of paper. And then other years, they want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. And it didn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think it was just where it was placed. But my sister always says if an item doesn't sell and you think it should, just move it to a different location, and a lot of times it'll start to sell.
Yep.
So maybe those hooks just happened to be in the right location this time.
Well, maybe they were just buried in all the other hardware last time.
Yeah, it could be.
And people couldn't find them.
The question I'm sure you all want to know, how much did you make at the garage sale? We took in $812.73.
So we didn't make the $1,000, but I was happy. My guess was $750, and it was pretty close. So
I thought $900, but we're kind of pretty much in the middle of the two.
Right, and considering that last year when we had our garage sale, we actually ditched almost everything, because we were not going to do another garage sale, and so this was stuff that we managed to get out of our home again. You know, we could discuss a lot about whether it was actually. What do they call that? Like a time usage study.
Right, yes. Was it worth it?
Was it worth it or not? And
that's my next question. Was it worth it?
Was it worth it? No. And we knew that walking into it. Because several times I said, I just should donate it. But it was like the final nail in the coffin. Right. Where you needed to experience this one last time to make sure you didn't do this again.
Right. We needed to be thoroughly tortured.
Right.
Which we were. And especially how being thoroughly tortured when we're picking up at the end, and then it started to rain. And not only did it rain, we had these little flowers coming off the maple tree. They're tiny little green flowers, and they just kept coming in profusion.
And with the water, it just made them stick everywhere.
Oh, it was awful.
You guys can't even imagine what my house looks like, because Saturday night, we were up until, 11:30, 12 o'clock, pulling stuff in off the porch, because we didn't want the porch to look like awful rat house.
I did not get a video of the porch.
No, it was really bad. And so Art's coming in and out, and so you have these wet peeblies everywhere getting dragged into the house and on the carpets, and I still haven't had time to vacuum because I've been trying to pick everything up. And, you know, you saw us going to Salvation Army and doing those donations. So was it worth it? No.
No, it wasn't worth it financially, but it was, well, although we did pretty well anyway.
Yeah, you didn't do that bad.
But was it worth it? No, financially. Was it worth it in keeping us from doing it again? I think so. Yeah. I'm not going to, I forget a lot of things. I'm not going to forget this one. And
I think that's the point of this whole decluttering process. In the past 3 years, we have known that these garage sales have gone from, you know, being fun and not a problem to they're becoming a problem to they are a problem
to torture.
And knowing that this needs to stop, but we had to get through all of the stuff in our house to make sure everything was out, and that again has been a 3-year process. And I'm happy to say that unless I sold most of my possessions, there's not enough to do a big garage sale again.
I think the only way I would do one is if I inherited a huge estate with lots of junk or something. Then I'd probably do a sale. But other than that, I don't think it's going to happen again.
It's not worth. We want to put our time into our children and raising our children and spending time with them, and we don't want this exhaustion that comes along with it and the stress and everything else.
The next question we've kind of already answered. We have said that this will be our last sale for the last 3 years. And what makes us think we will actually not do it again this time?
Oh, we've run out of junk.
We've run out of junk, and we're not getting more. And we don't want to. So, okay. What is your advice for those who are thinking about doing a garage sale? My advice is probably donate the stuff unless you have some really good items.
Right.
If you have we don't have expensive items. I think the most expensive item we sold was $40. But most of them were 25 cents to $1. If you have like $100 items and a whole bunch of them, yeah, do a sale. Other than that, don't. It's probably not worth it.
Using Craigslist or the garage sale sites are often just a better option if you have just a few items. You might not pull out the same amount of money as a garage sale, but it's so much easier to deal with than having to, you know, stand out there for 2 days and all that goes along with it.
Next question. What do the kids do during the sale? The little kids watched a lot of stuff on YouTube, and yes, we did monitor what they were watching. And I don't exactly like that to happen, but we didn't have a lot of choice there. The bigger kids, they helped out with the sale. Charity did an excellent job helping out. The 2 boys, they played in the backyard a lot, and a lot of
rollerblading.
Right. Yeah, you saw that in our videos. Lots of rollerblading. What happens to the rest of the house during a sale?
Oh, I showed some of that today.
Oh, it gets absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, it's not pretty at all, and the mess that's outside just kind of sort of every single year leaches inside. And I can't say that this year was any better. I had hopes that it would be better, but because of the rain, it made it worse. The only thing that actually did stay pretty good was the kitchen.
Right.
The dishes stayed up. Sometimes we've had years where there's not a clean dish to be found.
How long will it take to recover?
Probably most of the week.
You think that's all?
We gotta clean the house, we have to re-straighten the house, and we've gotten rid of almost all the residual garage sale effects. We just have to tidy what we have and what the kids have pulled out and things like that.
And then I will say this, after we're done with that recovery, it'll be a lot easier to take care of our house now. Did we price high or low for the garage sale? I think we priced a little higher than we usually do, but it's still low. Right. Everybody comes to our sales and they all know us because they always get great deals here and they keep coming back every year and they look forward to the sale. So they'll probably be disappointed there won't be one next year, but they're just going to have to live.
I think the one item that I priced higher, I would have never priced this last year, this price. And that was your seashell kit. It was a bag, like a men's travel shaving bag type thing. So it's about that big. And it had the zipper and it opened up. And inside it had a couple cool seashells and things like that. Guy came up to me and asked me how much. And normally I would have said $1. I said $3. And he looked at it and he says, okay. And he just handed over $3. And so that was like the type of pricing. It wasn't outrageous at all, but it was higher than I normally would have asked. Because we knew we didn't have the quantity to actually pull in the amount. And the funny thing is we still made a fair amount on less and less stuff.
If you're wondering how much we've made other years, previous years we've made anywhere from about low 700 up to close to 1100. So this has been kind of towards the smaller end, but still fairly substantial.
And it was far less than other years. I mean, go back and look at some of our other garage sale videos. We're talking tables, far more tables than we had now, heaped high.
Oh, yes.
And then the ground was heaped and piled underneath. And it was overwhelming. At the end of the sale, you'd go, is there a dent? It was ridiculous. Yes. And this time, it was mostly confined to the tables, fewer tables, and not so much underneath. And we had very little garbage. In other sales, there's a lot of stuff we could chalk afterwards. Right. This time, we didn't have a lot of that. It was nicer stuff worth donating. We
did have a lot more clothing this time, like an outrageous amount of clothing. If it weren't for the clothing, the sale would have been still substantial, but a lot smaller. We have all of this massive amount of clothing, an embarrassing amount of clothing.
Thanks so much for watching, and I guess we'll catch you tomorrow. Good night.